Hello, good afternoon, and welcome to the Midday News on 3FM 92.7. My name is Beatrice Adu. The news is also live on Casmi 107.1 FM and across the world at 3news.com. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. This afternoon, Ghana's Washington embassy temporarily closed over multi-million-dollar fraud scandal involving embassy staff. Details as Attorney General and Auditor General launch separate investigations into the development. Also coming up, former board chairman of Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, Professor Ameya Akumfi, pleads not guilty to charges of causing financial loss to the state in the ongoing SkyTrain trial. Also coming up on the program, most transport operators yet to effect 15% fare reduction despite a directive by Transport Coordinating Council. We'll hear from the union as it threatens a crackdown. And much later, also this afternoon, Portia Gabo tells the story of a 6-year-old music sensation, Papa Bafo William Mensah. You want to stay glued in for that. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. Now, the Ghana's embassy in Washington, D.C. has been temporarily shut down after an audit uncovered a massive fraud scheme involving staff members. The investigation, sanctioned by the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Samuel Okudzeto-Ablakwa, revealed that applicants for visas and passports were illegally diverted from the embassy's official website to private agents, costing the state millions of dollars in lost revenue. The scheme, which had been running for 5 years, was allegedly led by Fred Kwarteng, an IT staffer at the embassy, along with other collaborators. In response, the government has taken drastic action. Now, all foreign affairs staff posted to the embassy have been recalled immediately. Also, the IT department has been dissolved and all locally recruited staff suspended. The Attorney General will also prosecute those involved and recover stolen funds. The Auditor General has been called in to conduct a forensic audit to determine the full extent of the fraud. Again, the embassy will remain closed for a few days as authorities restructure operations and overhaul systems. Let's bring you some more. Now, the visa and passport applicants diverted to Ghana travel consultant charging $29.75 to $60 per applicant. The scheme operated for 5 years, led by IT staffer Fred Kwarteng. Also, case handed to Attorney General for prosecution and fund recovery. All embassy staff recalled, IT department dissolved, local hires suspended. Again, Auditor General to conduct forensic audit, and embassy temporarily closed for restructuring. Let's speak to fraud and security consultant Richard Kumado. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Beatrice.
This appears to be a very sophisticated scheme. I mean, from where you sit, what loopholes do you suspect allowed this to go on undetected for a good 5 years?
3 and 4 years ago, I became aware of a global risk assessment, fraud risk assessments done on most of our embassies and foreign missions. There were a number of things that came up as key finding indicators. One of them, or two of them I saw, was limited resources / misapplication or misappropriation of embassy resources. The other one that came up was poor customer service or delay in meeting the needs of people who apply for visas and seeking attention from the embassies. Then fast forward, when Okudzeto-Ablakwa went for his vetting, if you remember, a case came out where there was a contract he had wanted, or he had succeeding because he raised alarm. And there were contracts that were being given to certain specific people for embassy applications at our embassy. So when I saw the story yesterday, I went back to some of the people who did the research or who did the fraud risk assessment, and it began to make sense to me. But Considering the fact that I have been within this industry for almost 30 years, I'm not surprised at all. The reason being that sometimes the way we award some of these contracts look very opaque, either they are restricted tender processes or somebody just give the job to somebody to do, and there's no levels of accountability. I think to avoid all this, besides prosecution and retrieval of the money, we need to streamline people we send on our foreign missions and benchmark some of the best practices, particularly when it comes to where the loopholes are and people can take advantage to make the street. So that is what I thought of this morning, even before your interview came on.
That's just taking us forward, but just taking you back a little about what you think could have facilitated this for a whole 5 years.
No, I think somebody knew and they closed their eyes. And number two, some people have benefited from it. And number three is a deliberate exploitation of the resources of the embassies. And the reason being that they know they are not going to be caught, and even if they do, the high-handedness of politics will set them free. And that is what we are seeing all over the place.
We're aware that the Attorney General plus the Auditor General's office are already looking into this separately, investigating this separately. We're learning that this Fred Quartin, who led this operation, has already been sacked. What more do you expect as regards to him in particular?
I think he is the kingpin now, but that is just the Washington embassy. This fraud risk assessment I've told you about, it was done globally, and many of our embassies came under that particular descriptive line. So I think I'm happy the minister said they are going to expand it, and he has been a minister for, I think, more than 3 months now. They need to lump it together, make sure they retrieve the money, punish wrongdoers. Other than that, non-punishable of offenses will always rationalize bad behavior and promote antisocial tendencies in society. I don't think our embassies are so busy places that we would need to be going into these third-party services. And if we do, and we don't do them properly, then basically somebody is going to take and express the vulnerabilities we created for ourselves.
Indeed. Now, given that locally recruiter staff were suspended, how can Ghana ensure fair investigations without wrongful victimization?
Now, I think objectivity is key, transparency is key, and we need to benchmark some of the best practices across the group. Even if we are investigating into these particular matters or financial malfeasances, let's set the benchmarks properly so that we look at the key areas of vulnerabilities and how they manage to exploit it. That's the only way we can block the loopholes within the system.
In cases like this, people say that, yes, it's good to prosecute the individuals, but retrieving the monies is also very relevant. How does the government go about this?
I would suggest, or I would subjectively recommend we go for the two. Other than that, considering the fact that we are Africans and political fraud and criminality has become what politicians do, if it goes solely for retrieving the money, then the question of how much interest do you put on it? Because there's an element of net present value of money, and money has a multiplier effect. So if I stole $10 million yesterday, invest the money, and you are just interested in retrieving the $10 million. I have an investment and I have an asset. And once you don't have the capacity of confiscating my asset, even if you take the $10 million from me, I will still live on the fraud booty, and that doesn't serve any deterrence to anybody involved in some of these high-level criminal activities.
Indeed, and finally from me, we understand that beyond the Washington, D.C., there's also a case with our office in New York. How do you expect the government to work around all these?
I think OVSR Broker should just engage the research department and make sure they engage people with the right expertise. They may leave Ghana, travel across the world within a week or 2 or 3, and they will produce the results. It's one thing investigating and giving the results to those who ask for the investigation. Then there's another thing of prosecution. Then there's another thing of ensuring that the evidence gathered could not be tampered with, and they will be used in the appropriate course of jurisdiction.
Mr. Kumado, thank you so much for speaking to us. And he had there Richard Kumado. He is a fraud and security consultant, now former board chairman of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, GIIF. Professor Christopher Ameya-Kumfi has pleaded not guilty to charges of causing financial loss to the state, conspiracy and intentional dissipation of public funds. Appearing in court for the first time at the Accra High Court today, Professor Ameya-Kumfi entered his plea in the ongoing trial over the controversial Accra Sky Train project, a venture that cost the state approximately $2 million but failed to materialize. Prof is also standing trial alongside a former GIIF Chief Executive Officer Solomon Asamoah, who has already pleaded not guilty as well. Court proceedings for Professor Amir Kumfi had previously been delayed due to his reported ill health. Lord Adu Asare is our court affairs correspondent. He joins us live on the line. Court, I know you've been in court since morning. How did things pan out?
Right, Beatrice, so the latest development is that the former board chair of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund, Professor Amir Kumfi, has been granted a 10 million bail with two sureties with landed property, two sureties to be justified with landed property. Now, in court today, his lawyers argue that the 80-year-old former minister has gone through a lot in that he's undergone a number of procedures, including a surgical a hip surgery affecting his mobility. And so Beatrice, he actually came to court wheeled in a wheelchair, and he was largely composed and calm and pleaded not guilty to the charges that were read to him. You outlined that early on. Now, we also got to know that the first accused in the matter, the former Chief Executive Officer, Solomon Asamoah, he remains in the custody of the National Intelligence Bureau because he's yet to meet his bail conditions. You recall that the last time he had been granted a bail of 15 million cedis with two sureties to be justified.
What do we expect from today?
Right, so today the main business of the day was for him to show up in court for his plea to be taken, and that was done. He pleaded not guilty, and so the case has since been adjourned to June 10 for the trial to continue.
Thank you very much, Lord Adu Asare. He's our court affairs correspondent. Some 12 minutes past the hour of 12 now. The New Patriotic Party Ashanti Regional Chairman Bernard Entry-Boasia, popularly known as Chairman Wontumi, will appear before the CRD today for questioning after a botched arrest attempt last Friday. A joint team of national security operatives and police officers tried to arrest him at his residence on May 23 but failed. The operation sparked immediate backlash, with MPP supporters gathering at Wontumi's home in Kumasi to protest the heavy police presence. The reason for the arrest attempt remains unclear, but some have linked it to an alleged illegal mining activities in a forest reserve involving Akunta mining owned by Wontumi. The decision to report to the CID followed a commitment by Wontumi's legal team to produce him after that botched attempt, and we will update you in subsequent bulletins when we have the latest.
Aba a freezer Adamba akwa semenhia Adama metimoso ma sorry kanino obobo mu ase a adwofrefre no bia mienu miensa na se nan ase na wotimi di akwase Adama fo adwena kuafo ho hu se ye duro ba kope e be shifu ye bia high technology akofo freezer ba wenku a eno anto benya 15 latest no ahwiegum watia no ahwiegum o de basia fu ye bia no basia bio ekwoti se obetimo no na mu ye sure se o mention tasie na mu ase na afọ na anu a freezer umpa we na apade freezer basia ebe so do so ama amonyaje omtame me wasika omtidame me di me nyina duru bia so me dum Adama wo that Adama no kua Adama you can't resist.
Ubenya Adama West Africa for edwe bi wo baby biara ye ton kra ye ho edwu afi kayo na kenkan enchoya ewo edre ho.
14 minutes past the hour of 12 now. Our attention turns to the Bono East region, where the crucial transport fare reduction is reportedly falling on deaf ears among some drivers. Passengers are expressing displeasure that the GPRTU's directive for a 15% fare cut effective May 23 is being widely ignored by some drivers. Let's speak to Belinda Tete. She's our correspondent in the Bono East region. Belinda, are you able to tell us what the situation currently is now?
Right. So when it comes to the Bono East region, some drivers are still adamant on heeding to the directive by the GPRTU to give a 15% cut to the fares. And the passengers are really not reacting to these kindly. They are actually disappointed in some of the drivers. And the reason that the drivers are given is that spare parts are still expensive, and the passengers are saying they do not really care. Once it is a directive and they are aware that they're supposed to reduce their fares by 15%, they expect that they should pay heed to the said directive, and whatever grievances they have, they should actually direct that to the GPRTU so that they will see how best they can sit with them and negotiate on the best way to approach such issues. But the fact that they have decided not to respect the directive by the GPRTU and go on their own train, which is to still keep the existing fares, the passengers are really not taking it lightly with them.
So tell us or paint a picture for us what the situation has been. Are drivers declining passengers from boarding because they are refusing to, they are not accepting what the drivers are telling them, or what exactly is going on?
Right. So when you go to the station, the passengers are still boarding the vehicles, and the drivers are not preventing them, neither are they stopping them from boarding the car. And passengers, if you're going somewhere, even though the fare is not in your favor, you still have no other choice, because you still have to go wherever you want to go. Imagine if you're going to work this morning and you assume that because they said there's a 15% cut, and so there should be a reduction, and you prepare yourself for that said reduction, but you get there and they tell you, oh, this is a situation, and so we decided not to reduce it. You will still have to go to work, and so by all means, the passengers are still flying, and the passengers are still boarding the buses, but they are actually not happy. And they are just hoping that some of them are still hoping that maybe the drivers are trying to drag their feet. So they are hoping that maybe by the end of the week, they can actually come to a standstill where they can all decide to pay heed to the said directive and reduce the fare.
Thank you very much, Belinda Tete. She is our Bono East correspondent. Let's speak to David Agbado. He's spokesperson for Concerned Drivers Union. Good afternoon to you, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, my dear sister.
It appears drivers have ignored this directive to slash fares. What are you doing about it?
Thank you very much. I will say GPRTU, Concern, and Pro-Tour and cooperative have cooperate with what we are doing. But those that they say they are not doing the right thing, if I will ask, what union did they belong to? We have to know how to deal with it. Because all of us have agreed that, yes, we have decreased the lorry fare by 15%, and it's supposed to be so. If this one is an increment, would they say they will not adhere to it? Would those that are, refusing to comply, would they say the same? We have a social contract, and the contract has been signed by the Ghana Transport Coordinating Council and then GPRTU. It has come to.
Okay, so do I understand what you're saying, that you have not really investigated these drivers who are refusing to comply? What is your next step to ensure that all drivers, irrespective of the union they belong to, comply to this directive?
We will enforce the law, because as I'm already saying, that you see, it's a social contract that we have signed with Ghanaians. that if a transport fare is being increased, we will increase. If it is decreased, we will decrease. Once it is being increased and we increase, those that are not adhering to it, I will urge them to report them to the nearest law enforcement agencies, and the appropriate action will be done. We just release a release to the Central NTPD commander that he should send it across his men, across all the length and breadth of Ghana, so that they help us enforce this thing. You see, all that we know in Ghana is upwards. The downwind, this is the second time we are doing it. The first time that we did it, the MMDCEs were able to be on their feet, go to all the various stations and order or command the various unions to comply. We are urging the MMDCEs that they should go to the local assemblies, and then they should go to the local and then the branches that are under them and enforce and let them enforce the reduction. Because this is the second time it's happening. The first time we didn't take it serious, but this one we all must add our voice and our hands to it. I will urge the MMDCs to help us do this, and then the police officers help us do this.
I want you to hold on, Mr. Adu, because some of the drivers have reasons why they do not want to reduce prices. Listen to their reasons, and then I'll come back to you to conclude our conversation.
Police work council. As we do a bit, other good question. As there is 2 cities. 5 cities, you know, the lot of the motors were as they take open over 10 cities from which you could fit 10 cities. They don't take care of another fan, I can say. This one I'm back on the MY because I'm not a lot of fairness. Police was at Jesus.
I'm only in and as I see a fake plan, I say, Yantisono. Besides, I buy no name, and I say, be assembly near what it's Mahano. Gammy meaning say, can be as a lot of fair. To move a bar, stakeholders, you know, any assembly Lucia. Or when you root to Nina, root to the blue how or cock of our crowd, Obabano, now spring, be say, dear no whole fair, no, it was said it is here. But when you finish, no, the other chapter, she has said, Umpu, about we have.
Mr. Adu, I'm sure you heard them there. They are not happy with the fact that there were no consultations. The police officers are still on the road.
They have no case. The one that is saying so have no case. It is the same people that go and bring the increment and they take it. Or you know, we the same people that go and bring the increment and they take it. So what are they saying? They have no case. That the police are on the way. Police, they are on the way doing their duty. So if police, you and him negotiate about you not be maintaining your car or anything of that sort, that doesn't add to the decrement of the transport fare.
Let me ask,
have no case at all.
If you could answer this in 30 seconds for us. You said that you've given some directives, but is your union yourself, are you sending representatives around to enforce this?
We are doing so. That's why we are collaborating with GPITU, ProTour, Cooperative, and other people. Those that are heading to this is those that are having union. You see, the regulation 121, LI 121 says anybody that uses a commercial driver must belong to association of his choice. If you don't like GPITU, fine. If you don't like consent, fine. If you don't like ProTour, fine. Join association of your choice. Those that are flouting the law, we must start to use the law because we are resetting Ghana and the laws must work.
The laws must work, he says. Thank you very much. Winded here, David Adu, a spokesperson for Concerned Drivers Union. The Ghana Cocoa Board is to undertake a full-scale payroll audit in a bid to uncover inefficiencies and restore financial discipline across its operations. Chief Executive Officer Dr. Ransford Abe, during an interview on TV3's Hot Issues, noted that the payroll review forms part of a broader reform agenda that includes auditing stockpiled jute sacks and collaborating with National Intelligence Bureau.
Cocoa Board has on its payroll in excess of 10,000 people. Our staff cost is between $160 and $170 million every month. You understand? We're going to do a staff audit to ascertain whether we are all human beings or there are some people from another planet with us. You know, we need to establish that. But of course, if you have to spend about $12 million as your staff cost, that's quite, heavy, and we need to look at all those things. But there were decisions that were made that we need to look at. But a lot has to do with procurement, for example. Look at the things that I've told you about. Yeah. The Jude Sachs situation, for example. How on earth do you continue on a yearly basis, spend over $40 million on sacks that you don't need? The sacks come in, you're unable to clear them, or you willfully decide not to clear them, and yet you keep procuring to the extent that even when over a 3-year period you have not cleared 110,000 bills, you still go and sign a contract for 80,000 more bills, and in December of 2024 issue an irrevocable letter of credit for $48 million. I mean, what kind of thing is that? And I'm very mindful of the adjectives I use to describe some of these things.
And you had Dr. Randy Abe. He is the CEO of Cocoa Board. Well, he also says that the organization currently has a staff strength of over 10,000 with a staggering monthly wage of approximately $12 million. He questioned the integrity of the payroll system, hinting at the possibility of ghost names and other irregularities. He may be small in size, but when he sings, it will leave you in awe, with the music lingering in your heart long after the music fades. Portia Gabo tells the story of 6-year-old music sensation Papabwa for William Mensah, who is proof that sometimes great music can come from a tiny voice. Listen.
Papa, and I am 6 years old. I am a student of Gospel School, and I am going to grade 3. My hobbies are reading and singing. The name of my music teacher is Uncle Kent.
Is 6 years, has a beautiful voice, and ready to use his God-given talent to impact the world.
I sing every day, so I don't even know the age I even started to sing.
Who inspires you to sing?
My mother and a friend on TikTok called Nana Abre. He plays the piano very well.
I love to sing. So with all my children, like every mother does, I sing with them right from bed. And with Papa, I realized that after singing a particular song for a while, the next time you are singing again, you see him trying to sing along with you. And I saw that very fascinating. So I'll just pick my phone and I'll take a video of him singing. So right from about 1.5, I realized that he was singing.
His mother recounts the most rewarding experience for her in Papa's musical journey.
My dad is the immediate past presiding bishop of the Methodist Church. And on the day of his validation, during the service, I told them that Papa can sing, let him sing for Grandpa. And he sang Your Grace and Mercies. And people were teary. I could see Grandpa, I saw the tears in his eyes.
We'll check up out that report. Log on to 3news.com for more news. Have a good afternoon. My name is Beatrice Adu.
FM. Accra gets busy on this frequency. 92.7 3 FM.
It has always been a journey of Pan-Africanism and consciousness. It is your regular taxi driver with the urban blend and 3FM 92.7 in living stereo every day, Monday to Friday from 12:30 p.m. till 3 p.m. This is the show everybody listens to, so your business will certainly do well here. My name, Black Rasta. I am the rootical, hairtical, Don Gargan, Mua Fire. Come forward. Atinga ya chika fankare, Azure ya chika fankare, Abama ta chika fankare.
3FM, your urban lifestyle radio.
I wake up early every weekday because of you, to keep you on top of your game. Yeah!
You are at the center of our universe. That's why we make it a duty to serve you only the freshest, hottest news and entertainment. When you want it, where you want it.
Good morning, Ghana, Africa, and the rest of the wonderful world. Welcome to Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Start your day well informed. Start with us on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Catch the all-new Sunrise Morning Show on 3FM 92.7 with me, Johnny Hughes, Helen Apiambofo. Weekdays from 5:55 a.m. to 10 a.m. only on 3FM 92.7.
3FM, your urban lifestyle radio.
3 FM.
Hello there, good afternoon. Welcome to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7 with me, Michael Obodu. Coming up, CART's International calls for stronger public transport amid fuel price drops and fare non-compliance. Also, Fitch Solution projects Ghana's inflation to ease to 18.8% in 2025. And much later, government breaks Treasury bill under subscription streak, signals renewed investor confidence. Details of these and many other stories coming up shortly. Please don't go anywhere. Well, thank you so much for your time. Now, Fitch Solutions has projected that Ghana's inflation rate will moderate to an average of 18.8% in 2025, down from 22.9% in 2024. This, according to the UK-based research firm, will be driven by lower global oil prices and improved supply of foodstuffs, bringing relief to households. There is more in this report.
According to Fitch Solutions, the decline in inflation will be supported by several factors, including lower global oil prices, which will drive down fuel prices at the pumps. Additionally, improved supply of foodstuffs, such as wheat and rice, will drive down the cost and ease inflationary pressures. Fitch also expects elevated gold prices to boost the Bank of Ghana's reserves, supporting the cedi and contributing to exchange rate stability, which will limit imported inflation. These factors will ease pressure on household budgets, underpinning private consumption growth of 4.0% and contributing 3.2 percentage points to headline economic growth in 2025. Fitch Solutions further projects inflation to average 15.2% in 2026, supporting consumer activity. The research firm also forecast that the conclusion of Ghana's extended credit facility arrangement with the IMF in May 2026 is expected to pave way for more relaxed fiscal stance, potentially boosting domestic demand.
And that was a 3 Business News Desk report. Now, consumer advocacy group CATS International is urging the government to strengthen public transport operations as fuel prices continue to fall. The call follows concerns that some commercial drivers are not complying with the GPRTU's directive to reduce fares by 15%. Fuel prices in Ghana have declined 6 consecutive times since the beginning of the year. It is currently selling at 12 cedis 45 pesos at some stations like Star Oil, down from about 15 Ghana cedis. The consistent drop prompted the Ghana Private Road Transport Union GPRTU to announce a 15% reduction in fares after discussions with government. The new fares took effect on Saturday, but compliance has been patchy. In parts of the Ashanti region, for example, some transport operators ignored the directive, a move that has left many commuters frustrated.
And these same drivers who are not permitting the prices to fall so that consumers will benefit, they would also be expecting other service providers like PURC and others to also reduce their prices. I think it is very wrong. I mean, look at how the OMCs have been reducing their prices every 2 weeks. And next price window comes on, I think, over this coming weekend. And prices of fuel was going to fall down, between 6 to 10%.
To address the situation, the West Africa Director for CATS International, Beatrice Adu, says government must take a more active role in public transport delivery to ensure affordable and reliable options for commuters.
When you travel abroad and even most cities across Africa, the mass transit are run by the city. There's a policy reason why the government runs and controls the running of these buses. And I hope that this government would revamp the Ayalulu so that if Ayalulu was doing well and have reduced their prices by, let's say, 20%, we'll see that the truck drivers would also match their reduction, because if they don't match it, everybody will switch on to Ayalulu.
Beatrice Adu is the West Africa Director of Consumer Advocacy Group CATS International, ending that report. Now, government has successfully reversed a 3-week trend of Treasury bill under subscriptions, recording a significant oversubscription in its latest auction held on Friday, May 23. This marks a crucial rebound in investor confidence in short-term government securities, bolstered by easing yields and an improving macroeconomic environment. This report has more.
The auction saw the government raise 5.97 billion cedis against a target of 5.54 billion cedis, resulting in an oversubscription of approximately 421 million cedis. This positive outcome follows a particularly challenging period, including a 1.33 billion cedis shortfall in the previous week's auction. Total bids submitted by investors reached 6.53 billion cedis, with 5.97 billion cedis ultimately accepted. The 91-day bill proved to be the most attractive instrument, drawing 4.97 billion cedis in bids, of which 4.58 billion cedis was accepted. The 182-day bill achieved full coverage with all 890 million cedis in bid accepted. Similarly, the 364-day bill received 689 million cedis in bids, with government accepting 499 million cedis. For the 91-day notes, yield decreased by 18 basis points to 14.92%, while the 182-day yield eased by 13 basis points to 15.55%. The most notable decline was observed in the 364-day yield, which dropped by a sharp 78 basis points to 16%. This softening yield curve indicates ongoing market expectations for disinflation and a reduction in the interest rate risks.
And that was the 3 Business News Desk report. Meanwhile, financial expert Joe Jackson has indicated that the downward trend in the interest rates on Treasury bills is in line with government's objective of protecting the public purse.
As soon as the current regime took over, it indicated clearly that it will drive down the price of Treasury bills, which were the sole means of borrowing available to the government. And it was indicated by the Minister of Finance that he would drive down the rate of treasury bills because he has to husband the public purse. He has to reduce the impact of debt service on the public purse, especially at the T-bills, which had risen all the way to the mid-30s, and he had come down to around 28 when he took over. It has now been successfully driven down to about 15%.
The financial analyst Joe Jackson there, bringing an end to Business Daily here on 3FM 92.7. For more business stories, please visit our website. It's 3news.com/business. I am Michael Adu. Thank you for listening. As always, please stay safe.